Welcome to The Definitive Wrap, where we report the truth about American exceptionalism. We love our flag, we love our country, and we believe in America. The Definitive Wrap, where we respect people of faith, the men and women in blue, and our support for Israel. And now your hosts, Bela Sebro, she's the nice one, and Alan Skorsky. He's not so nice. But together they are The Definitive Wrap.
I'm Alan Skorsky with my co-host Bela Sebro, and welcome to The Definitive Wrap, where we discuss the news items the mainstream media just won't touch. The Definitive Wrap is proud to be the official podcast of VinNews.com. By now, many of you have heard about the disgraceful treatment of Ari and Avital Eisenberg and their two children, Esther, a 2-year-old who apparently is a lawbreaker who likes to eat yogurt without a mask, and Daniel, a sweet and precious little boy who has special needs and is prone to seizures, were humiliated and treated disgracefully by the crew of Spirit Airlines 2 weeks ago on their flight back from Orlando after Passover. Today we have with us Michael Inzelbuch, a Lakewood-based attorney who specializes in representing families with children with special needs across New Jersey and New York. In a moment, Bela will introduce Michael, but here are just a few of the questions I thought of following their press conference and appearance on Fox News. First, where was the captain while all of this was going on? Second, since this is the third time in the last year that Orthodox Jews were humiliated on a flight, do you see that anti-Semitism is at play here? Lastly, every airline knows that this time of year, many Jewish families are flying to and from New York and Florida because of Passover. Is there any excuse for Spirit to not have prepared their crews to be mindful, careful, and patient? Bela?
Thank you, Alan. The famous quote, "History repeats itself," is quite apropos in the topic we will be discussing today. And when we forget history, we are doomed to repeat it. The incident of the New Jersey Eisenberg family removed, no, I'm being too kind. The Eisenberg family was kicked off a Spirit Airlines flight traveling from Orlando to Atlantic City because their just turned 2-year-old daughter was eating and not wearing a mask. Yes, the child is the most adorable, precious looking child. And yes, the family was also traveling with their special needs child. And yes, the mother is visibly pregnant. All those features are important to this case and to any person with empathetic feelings. But that's not the point here. In the first place, a child of that age does not exactly agree to wearing a mask on a flight. But even more importantly, passengers of all ages are permitted to eat on a flight. Furthermore, passengers are permitted to remove their mask in order to eat. Not only that, but the printed policy of Spirit Airlines states that face coverings may be removed while eating, drinking, or taking medication. So how did it come to be that such an incident even happened in the first place? Yes, the family wants an apology, but that's not enough. This ugly incident never would have happened in the first place if similar situations such as this had not occurred in the past and flight attendants have gotten away with it. But before we delve into that further, our listening audience needs to hear the full account from their esteemed attorney, whom they have retained to represent them in this case. Michael I. Inzelbuch is a graduate of St. John's Law School, who provides comprehensive legal services for families of individuals with disabilities. These services include representing families in special education with IEP development, service procurement, and due process hearings. Michael resides in Lakewood with his wife and 8 children. He's a loyal supporter of many community programs, including the ACE program, Lakewood Piners, Pop Warner Football, Lakewood's Blue Claws Little League, Youth Group Advocates, and others. Michael, thank you and welcome for agreeing to join us as our guest today.
Good morning to both of you. It's a privilege to be here. I don't even know where to begin. But let me say,
I will help you out here.
I just want to put a little footnote though. I went to Yeshiva University for a year. Then I went to City University of New York, Baruch. Lived in Lawrence for a short time and grew up in Lakewood. Lived in Israel for 5 years and a graduate of Lakewood High School. My cases range against school districts from Teaneck, Bergenfield, Fair Lawn, down to Atlantic City. The only district I am currently not suing in New Jersey is the district I have a privilege to represent, and that's Lakewood Board of Education, the fastest growing city in New Jersey. But it's a pleasure to be here both with you and Alan.
That you're even more esteemed. I mean, you're incredibly esteemed, but even
Stop
more
that.
esteemed.
You know what? I am just, what I feel like is like an orange. Just squeeze me, I'll produce, just don't throw me away. But
I
here
can
we
see
are.
why you're great in the courtroom. I understand that you have represented the family before and are well acquainted with their authenticity as a nice family traveling together on a return flight home. So please give us the full detail as to what happened on that flight.
All right, and let's and I appreciate that. Let's just take a step back. You know, when you hear that people have been represented before, you start saying, at least I do, oh, they're the litigious type. So let me explain. Right, Alan? This is a family who used to live in Brooklyn, a little hamlet, you know, the place where you have a great mayor and great governor, that area. And they moved out of Brooklyn, where I was born, and moved to Toms River. Their child, and of course I have full disclosures to speak about this, their child who is multiply disabled, and those are the legal term, the child is nonverbal, the child is 7, the child has seizures, on and on. So that district, not Lakewood, but another nearby district I love to sue, said, no, we can do it in district. And this is what I do a lot of. I represent many kids who go to the Sinai School up in Livingston, the Shefa School in Manhattan, and my clientele spans the gamut. I have clients of the Jewish faith, Muslim faith, Catholic faith, and no faith. But they felt that that district was not providing an appropriate program. The process is you then sue them at court, and we got the child to go to state-approved private school for the disabled that is just doing wonders with this kid. So that was about 3-4 years ago. Everyone said it couldn't be done, and with God's help, it was. So that's how I know the family. Nice people, young people, and they have, as you said, the 2-year-old, and I don't know if you saw any of the videos. I hope you're going to somehow.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've watched every video on every network.
Right. So if you, hopefully you're going to plug it in here, Liv, because I don't have that ability to push the video here. I am technologically. Yes, Alan? Yeah.
What did they do? I told you, non-compliance, you will have to get off. I didn't want to do this. But you have to pick up your stuff.
What did we do?
I'm sorry. I want you off.
Okay, no problem. Just tell me what we did.
Non-compliance with the mask.
I'm wearing a mask.
She's not wearing it.
The baby?
Wearing a mask.
A lot of babies are not wearing masks. I keep putting it on.
Wearing a mask.
A lot of kids not wearing masks.
You've been sitting next to me. Was I wearing a mask?
He was wearing it the whole time.
Guys, was I wearing a mask the whole time, everybody?
I'm sorry.
But the kids not. This baby's.
I'll make sure he wears it. Everything's gonna be fine.
I'm sorry.
I'll make sure that they're wearing it, okay?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm technologically impaired. I'm proud. What should I tell you? But they have this precious child who's 2 years old and a month and a half old. So, and a 7-year-old. They get on the plane. Now, by the way, they bring someone to help them, a caretaker, because
Yes, I did see that. I did see that.
now
She was sitting opposite them.
that's correct.
Yeah.
And what's interesting, you see, Spirit didn't realize that, and I'll get to that. But the dad, as you know us dads, Alan, we're always schlepping the carriages and schlepping everything. Mom's coming on with her belly out. Don't mind me. She's pregnant. The 2-year-old in her hand, who's having, one of those. In addition, thank God, the most important thing in this family, I have 8 children, thank God, and 10 grandchildren. Yes, I know I'm young looking, but the fact is she's holding the kid, the 2-year-old. Daniil is running ahead, obviously not verbal. And Daryl, the flight attendant, the first of 3 spiritless people, Daryl says, wear your mask, not, hi, ma'am, I see you're 7 months pregnant. How about, let's be a mensch. Isn't that international? Well, I guess not for Daryl, right? So Daryl allegedly, where's your mask? Well, you can see, and they don't work. And we just flew down here on Frontier because they were returning back to Atlantic City from Orlando, where I happen to have been for Yontif. I flew the friendly airline of United, the Friendly Skies. So thank God. But anyway, here we go. She's holding baby. Daniil's running ahead. And Daryl decides to apparently bark his bark. And mom said, anyway, that ends. Daryl says, try these two. And she says, okay, you know what? Let me just sit my children down. The husband's coming. The helper's coming. Let me just get them ready. And Daniil has to take his first dose of his medication. Okay, that ties into
his
the yogurt.
anti-seizure medication.
That's right. And some kind of,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
And that ties into the yogurt. I'll get you to that. So they sit down. They're trying to get it. They have 5 seats, which they didn't have to pay because the 2-year-old, but they pay for dad, mom, the assistant, who you're right, Bela, is across the aisle.
Yeah.
And it's important to say this. I happen to have been county counsel to the NAACP. So I'm all, yes, but the helper, if you will, the friend is an African-American. Important because the spiritless people didn't realize who she was. So here we go. They're settling down. What kids like this do is, and again, they say I'm an expert in special education. I don't know. I'm just doing mitzvahs, right? Yes, I get paid. But the fact is, a lot of them, they have persevering, like they perseverate, they stim.
Of course.
So the family here, like many I represent, they have 3 fully charged phones with games on them. The game is, one of them is like an elevator opens and closes. It just keeps the kid focused and not biting himself like this and other such things. Well, spiritless number 2 comes. That is the next flight attendant. And she says, so we have Daryl, put on these masks. Then we have spiritless 2. And she says, well, you got to shut that off. Now they're not in flight yet. Now, every kid, not every, but I've gotten calls from people from throughout the country who were on that flight and others. But let's stick to this flight. Kids, they're all with their, and again, I'm technologically impaired, with their phones, with their iPads, their tablets, whatever else they have. And they're blasting their music. You can be sure that Daniil was not blasting Pink Floyd or something, okay? It wasn't rock music. So he's doing his elevator, open, shut them, whatever it might be. You got to shut that off. But we're not off. And don't you hear all that? You got to shut it off.
Oh.
Spiritless 2. Well, dad and mom say, okay, but this is not going to really be good because when he's not, he starts the perseverations and all that. Well, they shut it off. Within minutes, spiritless 3, and that's a beautiful, beautiful piece of evidence and a very sad story. And whether you're AOC or Donald Trump, whether you're a conservative or a leftist, rightist, centrist, this is a family, this is a child. Well, spiritless 3 comes on. That is the 3rd flight attendant. And again, it's not subject to dispute. She says, you got to get off. And that answers Alan's first, where was the captain? Well, she actually says, Ari, the father, stands up. Now he's all the way by the window. So, and she's on the aisle. There's mom, there's kid on the lap. And takes off his mask because it's getting a little, like, I want to make sure she hears me before she does something totally stupid. Okay. And he says, what did we do wrong? And it's on the video. And I'm paraphrasing.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
The pilot, who told us? The pilot. So answer your question. I know where according to her. Now, again, people like this are prone to make up fables and stories. But she says, the captain, the pilot, it's on the video. Well, he says, well, I want to speak to that person. What did I do wrong? Right. And then the damning evidence comes in. She then says, spiritless 3, she says to them, it's your child who's eating the yogurt. Now, why is that important? Well, since this event, Spiritless, the corporation,
I'm sorry, I can't help laughing when you say spiritless.
Oh, that's okay. You either laugh or you cry here. At this point,
no.
I'm getting a little numb.
I need the humor to it, of course.
You have to. I do this all the time with my special families because if not, you cry. Right. So they put out a press release, which they withdrew because it was lies, slander, libel. But they say it was the family. Well, that, and then they have this video. So it can't be because, thank you, Spiritless number 3. You're going to a place where it's real warm. But I want to thank you for saying what you said. That the pilot told her, the spiritless,
Right.
that it's the kid. So there goes that. So they ripped that one down. Then they put up another press release or a statement. And it's interesting. They're sending emails because many people are calling, many people are complaining, and of course they're giving it to us right afterwards. So the text they do is Spirit, the emails. Oh, it was several times of non-compliance. Oh, I guess that was the first time when they walk on with the baby and the kid's running and clearly, or was it the second time with the phone, with the elevator, or was it the third time? So then it becomes Ari, dad, and it's on the video, says, what did we do wrong, pilot, kid? And then thank God in humanity. People start telling the family, don't go, don't move. And then their assistant, their helper, who sits right across the aisle, thank God she and others video. That speaks a lot. So then I, of course, say, and then let me take a pause, fast forward a little. I got involved late Monday. I call Tuesday morning. I called the president of Spirit. I called the corporate office. I don't know. My number's not known. You look it up. I happen to have given it. I happen to have emailed it. We don't get a response till 10:31 on Thursday. They're really busy. They fly a lot of airlines and they harass apparently a lot of people. That could be a full-time job. So
you need a full department to handle that, just for that alone.
Well, that's interesting you say that, and that goes to and I appreciate Alan. And we never spoke before, so I don't want the.
No, we didn't speak.
We didn't either, right? And nor did I and Alan. But I'm saying this guy's really reading my mind, so I don't want the viewers to think this was all staged because it really wasn't. He asked question 3. Every airline, what kind of policies, cultural training? Well, that's funny. Because I write in the parents on Tuesday through me said we want 2 things. 2 words, I'm sorry, by midnight. And 2, I want to see the policies and the training that was in effect on that flight as far as children with disabilities, parents, pregnant women, and let's be candid, people of the Mosaic faith, i.e. Jewish. Because stewardess, you're not allowed to say that word anymore, by the way, cross that out.
Flight attendant, yes, you cannot use that word again.
Yes, never.
You could get thrown off a flight just for saying that.
Yeah, just don't, who knows?
No one else in that, anything is expected. Yeah.
Anything, unfortunately, but the flight attendant, Mrs. Spiritless 3, says, you people. Now, let me give me that 1 second. Now, she says that to the mom and dad. Now, I have given workshops to all types of people because people are people. I won't start singing Barbara Streisand on you, but people are people. Okay? You know the song? People. Yeah, I got it. Okay. Well, anyway, the fact is, she, Spiritless 3, says, you people need to follow. Now, I don't know about you people, but if I would ever use that word to the students I have the privilege of representing in Lakewood schools, which is 100% free and reduced lunch, 97% minority, and I went there, it was a little different then, and I would say, hey, you people, I would be hearing from God knows the NAACP, another Latino, because you people kind of indicates that us people are not you people, and that is not what AOC wants, nor what Donald Trump wants, nor Bernie, nor that loser governor in California. So you people is it's sickening. But go ahead, Alan. I'm sorry.
Okay. No, so you mentioned earlier that they went down to Florida on Frontier Airlines. And this brings up the point that happened last year when an Orthodox couple was kicked off of a Frontier Airlines, and tweets went about that witnesses or passengers saw the flight attendants high-fiving each other in reference to, like, I forgot the exact words, but basically you got those Jews off or something along those lines.
Well, that's not shocking. That's not shocking. You know why it's not shocking? I'll tell you why. You ready? And I just told this to Zev Brenner last night.
Yeah.
I didn't recall this. I flew down with my wife, just the two of us, one day Chol HaMoed Sukkos. because 2 of my children were there for the first days. We were going, then we were all coming back. And I was sitting in an aisle row, the exit row, plenty of room, me and my wife, we're sitting there, but we're not, doing the elevator, okay? And we're wearing our masks. And next to us is a clearly Jewish lady. Okay, you could tell, as the spiritless can. And the spiritless hostess or stewardess or whatever word you're supposed to use, flight attendant, starts saying to another not Jewish person, "I'll show them." So this is not, let me be clear here. I'll speak a little Hebrew, Yiddish, and then English.
Yeah.
Esav Sone Yaakov. Jewish people throughout the millennium, we need not go through it. My grandparents went through the Holocaust. Thank God they went out after the first slap by a brown shirt, left Germany and went to Israel. And my family, but it's not, again, this is not just perceived, and this is the world we live in. We used to laugh in America, not laugh. Oh, it's happening in France. It's happening there. It's happening right here. It's happening in New York with your horrible mayor that you guys voted for, and your horrible governor, who unfortunately his father and I, much older, went to the same law school, St. John's, and was a true friend of all people. And now, this guy, it's funny how God takes care quickly, isn't he? He's a little entangled. But this is clearly a situation. In this instance, I've gotten some calls and emails, and I'm just looking at them in my notes, from other families who have alleged to have experienced this. And you know what I say, and you may not like this, Alan and Bela, but I'll say it. I don't always like the people who cry wolf. Oh, they asked me to put my mask on. Well, you should put your mask on. Well, it's because I'm Jewish. Don't abuse that. Right. But in this case, and another that I actually got some videos on, and I don't know if I'm taking it because I'm busy enough. There's only about 5 special ed attorneys in New Jersey. And just to correct you, I'm licensed in New York, but I don't have enough time to play in New York. So the fact is, I'm not looking to branch out to a new, how shall we call it? Spiritless, get the spiritless. So, but there very strongly appears to be a pattern, and the pattern is reprehensible. Today it might be Jewish people. Tomorrow it will be African American or Black people. The next day it's already Asian people, and it's not acceptable for anyone. And I don't care what color and whose color and what religion. Right. But as far as Jewish Orthodox, it strongly appears there's a pattern.
Go ahead, Mela.
Excuse me. Yeah. I understand that Spirit Airlines is defending its decision to deplane the flight over what it said was one family's mask violation. Not only that, but when I watched the video, and you also mentioned a few minutes ago, the flight attendant who says, "I told you non-compliance," seems to appear to be a different person from the one who originally confronted the family. So to an average person, it appears as if it could even be premeditated.
Well, there's something to that. It's interesting you bring that up. Here's another thing that came out on, it wasn't the Fox interview, it might have been Telegram, I forgot which one. But what came out there, it gets even worse. Daryl, the first officer, or flight attendant, he is not on the plane. Everyone gets back but dear Daryl. So then I guess Spiritless has to start thinking, okay, what do we say? Oh, his time is up. His flight time. The only problem, maybe not, but the third flight attendant, Spiritless 3, who says it's the kid, by the way, not the parents. She doesn't say it's the parents. Right. She was so rude afterwards to mom again and says, you know what? Oh, they were giving out bottles of water as if that's going to cure. Water to all afterwards as they're taking off. Water to all. Dad is sleeping because he's so tense and he's just like sitting there like trying to chill out. And so mom says, do you mind if I have an extra bottle of water? It's not even extra, for my husband. The freebie of water was available. He was sleeping. She didn't want to wake him. She goes, we were just gone through a very traumatic. Well, so was I. I had to get called emergency out of my hotel room to be on this flight. They have an issue with training. They always have. Everyone flies them because of one reason: they're cheap.
Right.
Will I continue to fly them? Probably. Then you know what? All of a sudden, as we're speaking, I'm getting from all these, interviews and stuff. I have parents of special needs children who are scared to fly an airline. I had another client of mine who I represented against a certain district in Bergen County, North Jersey, who said instead of going on a plane, we schlepped our family. We rented a special transport, which took us 2 days to get there. Can you imagine? We're busy defending, which we should, everyone's rights from those who are illegal to not, which is our right and our law, like it or not. But here are people who are American citizens, whether they are or not, resident citizens, but they happen to be in this case, and special needs children need to be scared to go on a plane. What are we coming to here? It's just terrible, you people. I want to let you know it's terrible, you people. Yes, Alan,
So,
sorry.
question. You said that they flew down to Florida, and I'm assuming that there was without incident.
Without incident and following the same procedure.
So that brings me to my point. How is it that on the way there, Frontier said that that they had no issues unless Spirit is more machmir, as they would say, more strict, that they require 2-year-olds to wear a mask, whereas Frontier doesn't. So, and I'm guessing that all airlines have very similar, which means to me that Spirit was just concocting reasons to aggravate this family. The second question, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Okay, well, I'm not too smart, so let me take one at a time. Okay. You're absolutely correct. The American with Disabilities Act applies here, as well as other federal and state laws, which, by the way, federal, as you know, just to make sure your listeners, applies whether it be in Florida, midair to New Jersey, and in between. But you're absolutely correct. The same rules apply, and the vast amount of incidences happen on Spiritless. So you could reasonably conclude there's a problem here.
Now, here's my other question. Now, and this I want to ask. We can't see the whole plane from the videos, but my question is this. If the plane was full, and as you know, the way chairs are seated, people are like sardines. Two people can't even have their elbows on the armrest. So if the plane was full, a 2-year-old without a mask is the least of their problems, if that's the issue. And if the plane was not full, let's say caught half quarter empty, couldn't the stewards have said, you know what, let's make this easy on everybody, let's move you back here away from everybody else just to make it easier?
Well, so, you know what's funny, you bring up a good point. The plane was full. Of course, you know what's interesting? You ever hear on the plane, we were on a plane lately, right? They say, okay, we're going to deplane in a normal situation, but stay 3 feet apart or something. And we'll call your row. Now, isn't that funny after you're sitting on top of someone for the last 3 to 10 hours? Right. But when we get off, I guess we have to do a show or something. I don't know. But again, the law is the law. So be it. But the fact is there was no other room on the plane. And he brought it up. Let's talk about the 2-year-old 2 months. She was born in February. This happened to March. So she was 2 years old and 2 months. Okay. And she was eating yogurt. Now you could be 200 years old. If you're actively eating yogurt, as Bela said, and you said in the beginning of this, you don't have to wear a mask, but it gets worse. She, the 2-year-old, was eating yogurt, which the videos show, because they were trying to get this Daniel, this precious child, can't eat. He takes the Pediasure and all that other stuff, but he needs the yogurt to put the medication in. Yeah. So that's one point. Well, that's a big point, that they're actively eating. Could they make more room? Could they make reasonable accommodations? Well, there's no room on the plane because they sell every last ticket, which is their right. But please, when you deplane, stay 6 feet apart. Okay, fine. But that's fine with me. You got to follow the law. In this case, it strongly appears they were targeted. And I went to St. John's Law School. I went to Lakewood High School. I graduated there. I work in whether it be the real world, fake world, it matters which one person you ask, every day, except for, thank God, Shabbos. I'm the last to cry anti-Semitism. It exists. I get it in court sometimes, and I move on. Right. But it's not right for a family. One last thing, Bela. You know, you said the video, you mentioned the video. You know what I said to dear people at Spirit after they put this thing on about non-compliance? I said, you know what? I'll share with you. You share with me. Show me your videos. Show me your evidence. Now you got to hold on. This might actually convince me not to fly Spiritless Airlines. Put them in the garbage. Okay? But the fact is, I said to them, give me your documentation. Show me that the parents, not the kids, were wrong. Oh, we can't give that to you. Oh, okay. I said, they said only through subpoena. I said, are you trying to encourage me to file a lawsuit here? Because I'll do it. Does that make any sense? Then I was thinking, these days we have to say the word, unfortunately, terrorist. Are you telling me I'm flying on airplanes that don't have videos going on somewhere? I know El Al has them.
Oh, yeah.
So the whole thing makes no sense. Show me yours. I'll show you mine. I don't have to show you mine. Then they say, well, ours, which is not ours, is only a portion. Well, let me guess. Here I am, a mom holding my baby, having another baby, a 7-year-old. I guess I should have my videos on the whole time. Guess what? Well, maybe you should on Spiritless, as Balin, you said. If you're Jewish, if you have a special ed kid, maybe you should have a video crew as you're walking on. But go ahead, Mr. Bro.
I mentioned earlier that history repeated itself, and this is not the first time that passengers were removed from flights for literally not doing anything wrong. And I'm not even talking about it happening to Jewish people, although in this case it did, and it's happened before, but it does happen to people of every race and religion. So are flight attendants really given carte blanche to do whatever they want? Meaning an average person boards a flight, and for whatever reason, one of the attendants doesn't like him or her, or triggers them somehow, perhaps reminds them of somebody they don't like, and the attendant can just have them removed and the captain will just go along with it. I want to try to understand, and for our audience to understand, how can one even protect themselves from such an occurrence happening? I'm all for an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure.
Well, that's why we asked. We said, please give us your policies and your procedures. I happen to do this for a living. I sued a school district in a part of New Jersey where there was discrimination against an African-American family I represented. I wanted to see the policies. It took me a lawsuit to get them, but okay. But why should that be? Let's look together. We want to work collaboratively. It's not the first time. Look what's going on in this crazy world. There are people beating up Asian people because they're Asian. They're beating up Black people because they're Black. They're beating up everyone. And this whole thing is going to basically implode if we don't look better. So you're right. So how do you prepare yourself? As I said sarcastically, I guess when you go on an airplane these days, you got to get your phone. That would kind of be hard for Avital, though. Here, baby coming, baby here. Wait, hold on. I got to take a picture. Thank God there were people taking those videos.
David, we're out of time. Just one last question. In your legal expertise, what is a typical outcome? Meaning, in former cases where passengers were removed from flights, yet have done nothing wrong, how did those cases legally conclude?
Most of them are subject to confidentiality clauses. Okay. So, of course they are. In this, in this horror, we are looking for the words, I'm sorry. We're looking to see the procedures and policies and training, which I mentioned earlier, and how they could be improved. And if they really get me upset, they're going to be looking for loads of money. Okay. But as of now, that's not even on the table. We're not even asking for that. Do you believe this? I'm like a lawyer's dream for so long. Right. And thank you both, Bale and Alan. It's been a pleasure to be with you. You actually asked questions that even the fancy networks, some of them didn't. So God bless you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you again for your presence on the Definitive Wrap today. We are most grateful for your time and legal excellence. Thank you for audience for tuning in, and to vinnews.com for our show being their official podcast.
Be well, Alan. Thank you so much. Bye, Bale. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thanks for listening to The Definitive Wrap with your hosts, Bela Sebro and Alan Skorsky. Be sure to tell your family and friends they also can listen to The Definitive Wrap on Apple Music, Spotify, Google Play, and your favorite streaming service. See you next time on The Definitive Wrap.